Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we're gonna make apple cinnamon muffins. These are moist, these are good, and a little bit different from what I usually make. I usually try to make lower sugar treats, but it's the holidays, so let's get into it. First thing we have is some applesauce. I had some canned applesauce in the pantry, so I was like, let me just do something with it. So I decided to make this recipe. Now, I have 1 cup of applesauce that I'm using. That was actually about a half a cup if you measure it out. And then about 3/4 cups of diced apples, Granny Smith apples. I'm putting in my coconut oil, 1/3 cup, and 2 flax eggs. You guys know this is vegan, okay? So we're going to blend all that together. And the blending process with this was my first time making these, so it was a little bit difficult to get it all stirred up. If it was real eggs, then of course it would have blended much easily, but you know, we got to make concessions for trying to eat more plant-based. So blending it up really well. Make sure you blend this really well because you're going to add your extra ingredients in there. And now we're going to go in. I decided that it was just a little bit too thick, so I added another little cup of applesauce. So for total for this recipe is 1 cup of applesauce. And then it started to loosen up more and things got better. You guys, the big thing with this recipe is the apples, of course. Apples are extremely healthy. I try to eat an apple a day. I usually eat an apple a day. Me and my son have been on this apple a day kick. These are Granny Smith apples, which have more of a sour tart texture. I'm putting in, now we have our coconut sugar, about a half a cup of coconut sugar, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and a pinch of salt. Now I use coconut sugar because it's a better alternative to white sugar. It's not necessarily healthy. It still contains like the fructose, but it's just less processed than white sugar. You know, white sugar, when they process it, y'all, they use sulfur to process it. So over time, that sulfur can cause illness. So I try not to use sugar a lot, but when I do use it, I use coconut sugar. So now I'm going in with my, I'm folding in my gluten-free flour, and it's about 1.5 cups of that. So I'm just folding it in, and it's all blending, you know, very slowly, but getting it in there. As you know, with gluten-free baking, it doesn't, the consistency is not like regular flour, so the texture is always going to be a lot thicker, denser, and not as flowy as traditional flours or traditional recipes that contain gluten. So it takes practice. It's a process. If you've got somebody with food allergies, or you've discovered you've got intolerances to gluten like I have as I've gotten older, then, you know, just give it time. Practice makes perfect. There's going to be trial and error, but, you know, that's what you got this channel for. I can share some tips on gluten-free baking with you, as I'm always learning more things. So we got the flour well incorporated there. And then right here, because I ran out of containers, y'all, I put my 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and 1 tablespoon of cinnamon into the batter, and incorporated it, stirred it real well. And y'all, like I said, it's the first time making my recipe. So while I was mixing, I was like, this don't seem like it's gonna be enough. And I was right. It was only enough for about 10 muffins, which, you know, my son, he doesn't care. He's not counting. He's just eating. So he's a beneficiary of all this baking and stuff. He eats it for breakfast usually. So as you can see, I have my favorite muffin tin pre-oiled. I don't use the muffin tin cups or the paper liners just because I feel like it's extra waste, extra money that I have to spend. That's just unnecessary. The kid just gets them and eats them. He just shoves them in his mouth. So if we're in the car on the way to school, we don't need any extra paper, extra waste. So it's just more convenient like this for us. So feel free to use the muffin liners if you want. It is easier and less cleanup after you're done baking. I use a third of measuring cup always to put my batter into my muffin tins. It just seems to work out better that way. All right, let's speed it up for a minute. This recipe in reality will give you 10 muffins, but I scraped so I could get 11, y'all. So I had it in my mind that I wanted to make like a crumbly topping for these muffins. So I kind of freestyled and thought about what would work and just went with that. I used about 2 tablespoons of Smart Balance olive oil vegan butter, and then about a 1/4 cup of brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of coconut sugar, 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, and then like just a smidge of gluten-free flour. And I tried to blend it all together and make like a crumbly topping. It didn't come out exactly like the way that I wanted, but the finished product I was happy with, because what happened was the topping kind of melted into the top of the muffins and made this like crumbly, sugary surface. So it worked out perfect. So you want to make sure, guys, your oven is heating to 350. Can't put no muffins in a cold oven. So you're going to put these in the oven and bake for about 35 minutes. I'm putting my sugar topping on top. And like I said, it's going to work out pretty good in the end. You'll see. But I love these muffins. They're full of apples. I saw some recipes where they just use applesauce, and I'm like, that's not enough for me. I want to be extra. So I added apples, and the apples are excellent sources of vitamin C, potassium, lots of potassium, B6, magnesium. Y'all know I'm all about using whole foods ingredients to try to be more healthy, to make good tasting food. So after 30 minutes and 350, here's our finished product, y'all. These were so good. Okay, let me know in the comments if you want to try to make these or if you've made them. Swap out, regular ingredients if you want. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for the next video. Bye.